We are here with the legendary Sophia Loren and her son, Edourdo Ponti, who produced, directed, co-wrote The Life Ahead, a gem of a film you can see now on Netflix and a major award contender this year. I'm Tom O'Neill of Gold Derby. Edourdo, let's start with you. Set up the story here of this film.
Well, it's a story of love and friendship between two people, Madame Rosa and Momo. Madame Rosa is an aging ex-sex worker who is also an Auschwitz survivor, a Holocaust survivor, who in order to make ends meet has this makeshift daycare for children of other prostitutes in her home. And one day she is forced to take in this boy, this Momo, who's quite a handful for many, many reasons. And what starts off as a very contentious, belligerent relationship ends up changing the lives of both of them. And I think what's beautiful about the story and these two characters is that on the surface, everything separates them, race, religion, culture, and yet they're just two sides of the same coin. They were both raised without families. They were both defined by pain and loss, but really by hope and resilience. It's a story of two survivors who find each other and who complete each other.
And Sophia, tell us what you thought of the role.
I wanted, with everything in my heart, to be able to be the actress of this film and to be able to do this wonderful image of this woman that really, when I read the script, when I read the story, it really, I was completely taken by this great personage that I would have liked to do. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, I was very close already to this woman even before I made the film. Yes, it was great. Great moments for me during the film also. Great moments.
Tell us some of your favorite moments.
Quando sono stata nella caverna, che gli raccontavo la storia del fiorellino.
Yeah, she says one of the moments she really loved, and actually a moment that we always loved shooting, was when Momo finds Madame Rosa in the basement in her refuge, and
in her bat cave.
And Madame Rosa tells the story of Auschwitz and of the mimosas. That's a scene that was always, and another one that I know that she's always loved also is that scene up on the rooftop when the rain falls down.
Yes.
And,
don't blink.
Yes. I asked my mother during the shoot not to blink, even though the water was falling on her eyelash. Everything was perfect. Her face was perfect. But when we turned on the water, she started blinking. And I was like, well, I know it could be right medically that you blink when you're in this mental paralysis, but it doesn't look right. So can you do the impossible and not blink? And my mother looked at me with such eyes saying, Edourdo, you're crazy. And yet when I called action, she did not blink. If you go back in the scene, she doesn't blink, even though water is falling on her lash and it's almost physically impossible not to blink, but she, in some way, she did it.
Because I was afraid of him. Bad boy.
Well, Sophia, you've been the boss of this boy all his life, but when you make a movie with him, he is the boss. So do you listen to him on the set, or do you say, I'm the mama?
No. No, he is the boss. Yes. Absolutely. So I even accepted don't blink.
Well, it's crucial. We have to tell the viewer, it's crucial for you not to blink in that scene, because we also have to suspect she might be dead. There are some things, well, quite frankly, you could die in a sitting up position. And yes. It's that moment where we see Momo caving slowly throughout. The movie is a process of both of these people, Madame Rosa and Momo, not wanting to be together, but never comes a big moment where they have a Hollywood style reconciliation and turnover. It's such a slow, gradual thing. And that scene on the roof is powerful because if she's dead, he needs a new place to go. He's a Senegalese refugee. He's, as much as they are alike in having been raised on the streets and had a hard life, everything's on the line for him, but the way he responds is it's a beautiful moment. My favorite scene is back in the Bat Cave downstairs when Momo gives Madame Rosa the yellow flowers and apologizes for them being in plastic. That moment was so beautiful because it was unexpected and tender.
And he treats her like a queen. He treats her like a queen. He treats her, if you look at the arc of his character from the beginning of the movie, where he could not be more rude and irreverent, to that moment where he treats her like a queen, and the rapport that they have together, and my mother's emotion there, and just the fact that she knows who he is, but she doesn't know who he is because of her illness. It's she's really. I actually asked my mother about that moment, when we were shooting. I said, you were so into this moment. Where did you draw the inspiration there? You were so, you looked so frail, you looked so fragile. And she said something very, very touching, very beautiful. She said, I just had to lean into my age. And how beautiful it is that an actor, that an artist can tap into the most vulnerable parts of themselves so openly, so fearlessly. And she does it effortlessly. She does it without really, there is no alternative to that choice. She will go straight for the heart, straight for the most fundamental thing. It's an instinct. Amazing instincts.
But these are these scenes for me, for my character, are the most wonderful scenes given to an actress or to an actor to be able to give it all at that moment. And that's what I felt at that moment, because it was really a magic moment. Yes.
When Madame Rosa goes into these, when she shuts down, or she doesn't blink, or she freezes, we know part of it could be dementia. We know part of it could be depression, even. But we know it also, those moments, Sophia, when you withdraw, we know that those moments could also be times that you are reflecting in your life and can't. Maybe it's the horror of
the life I had before. Sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Of course. Even though I did not feel it myself, because it was not my time. But that's what you are inclined, if you are an actor and you really want to give it all, and you give things that are natural at that moment. But you have to go all the way, like you were having that kind of things at that moment. And sometimes you do it so well, you know that you do it so well that you never like the man who is behind the camera to say, stop, let's do it again. It's incredible. It's an anticipation that it's not right for that moment. You want to go on and on and on. If you get it right, you want to go on. Yeah. But there are beautiful moments that you never forget. Absolutely. Never. Even though I never lived these kind of things. Never. But you imagine, and imagining, you want to go on because it feels right. It feels not good, but it's a shame. It's a shame.
In some other interviews that I've read, Sophia, where you have talked about this movie, you mentioned that it reminds you of your own mother, and maybe your grandmother. You were raised by your grandmother, correct? But this
with
role,
my mother was there, but the house was a little tiny, so we were all together. Yes.
I see. Yeah. So
my mother and grandmother. Yes.
so how did this movie help you rediscover those memories?
Every movie, when there is a war, when there are these kind of things, reminds me of what I had before, because it was a life with nothing, a life with war, a life with no life at all. So it's very easy to put your mind right and to remember what you went through, more or less, also because I was 3 years old, I was 4 years old, I was very, very, very young, yes.
Tell us also, Sophia, a few moments behind the scenes that we don't see on camera that you appreciated the most when working with Edourdo.
But it's not a question of working together. It's I appreciate my sons every time of my life. I look at them and I appreciate them because I love the way they are. I love their characters. I love to be with them. I am always in good company with them. Because they are part of me. They're part of me, Sophia, everything. So it's something that sometimes it's very difficult even to say in words what you feel. They are so strong, these kind of things that you have inside as a mother also. Yeah.
And Edourdo, what is it like to direct your mother?
Well, my mother is right. You know, our work is an extension of our relationship as mother and son and as people. You know, we are very similar. We strive for the same authentic notes when we work. We're both at the service of the characters that we're trying to tell the story of and of the film. So our agendas are creatively speaking, are exactly aligned. And what is beautiful is to discover, my mother has been my mother for 45 years, but I am discovering her as an actress and as an artist more and more as I work with her. And it's so wonderful to discover different aspects, different layers of the person you call your mother and the person that you love. And maybe the biggest aspect that has tremendously inspired me working on this movie is her ability to courageously take on a role like this at 85 years old when she had nothing to prove, and approach the role with such concentration, such work, such commitment. It's a very difficult role. You know, my mother is very humble in that way, so she won't tell you, but I can tell you, this is a very, very difficult role, very demanding role. Not only is it demanding emotionally, because the arc of Madame Rosa's character is very, very wide, from this woman deep in control to a woman who ultimately loses herself and her identity. Not only that, though, it is a very physical role because she's around children all the time. There's this kinetic dynamic in between her and taking care of these 3 children. And as we all know, when we're around children, it takes a lot of energy to be around children. So there are all these elements that she makes effortless. And she makes effortless because she's so passionate and so committed. And in the end, so humble at the service of what she has to deliver, which is this story and this performance.
Did you let your mother improvise any scenes, or did you just encourage her to stay with the script or be more involved during the script writing process?
Improvise.
Really?
Improvise.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we improvise. You know what it's like. It's you find the scene. It's very important to have a blueprint, obviously. It's very important to have a solid ground to step on and to dance on, so to speak, creatively. So then when you have a solid ground, a solid script, you can improvise. And then out of that improv, you find moments of truth, which is exactly what my mother is saying. you need to improvise in order to find moments of truth, in order to find the right connection in between people. So it was a combination in the end, but a lot of the improvisation made it into the movie.
Give me some examples of scenes where you...
Well, you know what? It was really about the relationship that she has with Momo, or even with Abril, or even when they dance, for example. You know, that the dancing scene. You know, it wasn't supposed to be such an extended dancing scene, but then it became an extended dancing scene because they were having such a good time together. You know, my mother loved Abril Zamora, who plays Lola, and they were, you know, dancing, truly having a great time. So this is a perfect, a scene where the improv took a life of its own, and it became that.
In the beginning, I was a little shy with her to dance for the character I was playing. Don't you remember?
That's right. Yes, and then and then the music. You know, my mother loves Brazilian music. My mother loves Brazilian music. So when the moment that song came on, she went beyond shyness into just letting go and being in that song.
No, right? But I was afraid to, you know, that the character wouldn't have liked me to dance. So I was in the beginning a step, and then I retired, and then another step, I retired. Then I said, I go. And
brava. That's right. Yeah.
Sophia, what was it like to work with a 12-year-old boy with no professional experience?
For me, he looked like a 12-year-old boy, but his mind already was working as a grown-up, because when people live like they were living, they grow much earlier. But he is a wonderful guy. He really, anything that we asked me to do, he was ready to do. He was ready to help us, because he wanted to be good. He wanted to be really wonderful. Really, I really am very, very pleased that he wants to go on with that kind of, like an actor. And maybe in life, if he really sticks to it, if he really works for it, if he really is helped by other people also, maybe he's going to be a very good actor, or maybe he's not going to be an actor. It depends. But I would like to see him as an actor, you know, one day, because that's what it was, his sentiment at that time that he was working with us. He wanted to be like us. He wanted to be an actor like me, like other children in the set, you know. And he will be. If it's really very strong, this kind of feeling in him, he will be like I did. I mean, if you knew how much I suffered, you have no idea, but I did. Here I am talking with you.
There are a lot of similarities, you know, in between my mother and Ibra. You know, they're both, you know, born from a, you know, working class background, and really worked very hard to get to where they are. And I think that my mother related to him, and he related to her in a way that I can't even really relate to my mother, because my upbringing was completely different. And so it was the chemistry between them, which is so apparent, was born also from that, from recognizing in each other elements of their lives that were very particular to both of them individually and together. And what was really beautiful seeing them together is that they both are the same kind of hard workers. They both prepare. They both are very meticulous. They both want to know everything so that when they go on set, they feel comfortable and they can be themselves. And it was very interesting to see that coming from a woman with my mother's legacy and a young man with yet a legacy. His legacy is in the future. And it was really wonderful to see that kind of rapport growing, and how we were able to kind of, you know, guide it for the movie.
This movie is now a contender for Oscars and many other top awards. Sophia, you have a wonderful history with the Oscars. When you won for Two Women back in the early 1960s, it was a historic win. Never before had a foreign language subtitled movie won a top Oscar like that. And you had been working for many years in Hollywood before you made this movie. You went back to Italy to your roots to do true Italian cinema. And then that's what you end up being rewarded for. It is a remarkable, tell us about that year, because you won the Cannes Film Festival Award. You won the Critics Awards, like the New York Film Critics. You knew you were a serious, that you were suddenly on the map, but suddenly in the Oscar running for something that had never won before.
I never thought I was going to win because it had never happened before. It was something that I was praying to win, but it was not easy for my situation, being Italian, for an Italian film. And I prayed, and De Sica was with me praying because he wanted me to win that Oscar, because he had worked with me and he was enchanted for the role, how I took the role, how I did, how I was being helped by him in the sentiment of this wonderful story of this woman. With this child being, you know, with the war, it was really incredible. But it happened because the role was very strong, very strong. I was very young. I was 26 years old. I was very young, but with De Sica, that he's the man who really helped me a lot in the beginning of my career. Especially when we did the scene on the street, that these people, these soldiers were kind to come si dice, Edoardo?
The scene where the soldiers violate your daughter and then they go away
in the church. And then the scene also that continues in the street where she screams to the soldiers something that I cannot repeat here. It's impossible. But that scene, it was really the scene that made me explode as a dramatic actress. And for that scene, I received, I think I received the Oscar for it. Because I remember that De Sica, after I had done the scene once, that scene was done once in the street when I was screaming at the soldiers going away in the car. He said, I said, we can do it again, because I thought he had not liked it. We can do it again. We can do it again. I said, no, you will never do it like this again. It's incredible what you did. Shut up. I'm going home and I will see you tomorrow and be happy. De Sica. Can you imagine? For that scene, I received the Oscar. Yeah.
You've had many memorable moments at the Oscars since then. The year that Roberto Benigni won, you opened the envelope and said, Roberto,
you won.
And he went crazy. And he went crazy.
With a very Italian accent, you won. But he understood right away that he had won.
But he was stuck in his row and couldn't get out, and he crawled on the backs.
No, he was walking on the side, on the head of so many people. He was crazy. He was going crazy. Say, be careful! You're hitting him. Everything became very Italian at that moment. very Italian. No Oscar, nothing. The head of the people. No Oscar.
another time that you introduced a winner was the year that for the first and last time they had past winners, 5 of them, come up and read off the nomination of current nominees. And you had Meryl Streep. So that must have been a wonderful experience to then give her the Oscar.
But it's very strange. Meryl Streep, even though I didn't know her, when we met, we became friends right away. Friends, absolutely. I adore her. I adore her. She's a wonderful person, wonderful person. And her family too. Really great, great, great people. I have nice souvenirs. Nice, very nice.
Looking back over all of your whole career, Sophia, what have been some of your other favorite performances that you would encourage people to see?
Almost every film I did with Vittorio De Sica. All the films. Ieri, Oggi e Domani, for instance, when Marcello Mastroianni is completely naked, he wants me to dance for him. It was a wonderful, wonderful scene. And De Sica taught him what to do. When De Sica was teaching him what to do, can you imagine at his age? He made us laugh a lot, and we had a wonderful time in that film. It was beautiful. No, many. Every time De Sica was involved, I had a wonderful time. Wonderful, a wonderful person, very simpatico, very nice, great sense of humor, wonderful. He was great, yes.
One of my favorites is also, of course, A Special Day. Special Day is one of your greatest performances because it is so.
But was not De Sica.
No, that's Ettore
Scola.
Yeah. You're so internal and you're so strong.
Very nice. Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah. And also Marriage Italian Style.
Oh,
Marriage,
that's a classic, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Marriage Italian Style, of course. Yes.
Well, congratulations on this movie, both of you. It affected and touched me deeply as a film lover, and now it has wonderful awards buzz. So we wish you well in the next few months and encourage everybody to tune in and see The Life Ahead. It's one of Sophia Loren's greatest performances. Edourdo is at the top of his talents under his many hats for this film, and it's something that touches the human heart very deeply. So it needed to be made. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A big kiss.
Okay.